I am, and we are already recording, so we are in good shape. We've got a lot of information to share and a short period of time to do it. I want to welcome each and every one of you, and congratulations, you actually made it on. We have the last numbers I saw, just under 3,800 people were registered for the webinar. The only challenge is on this webinar platform, we can get 1,000 folks on. Okay, now obviously I don't expect all 3,800 to be able to show, but obviously a decent percentage will. So congratulations to those of you that were actually able to get on. And if we hit that capacity, then folks can still call in. All right. Now, with that being said, let's go to work. And, you know, I know we've got a lot of newer folks. Perhaps you've not heard anything about THWGlobal just yet. Perhaps you've heard something about THWGlobal. Maybe you've even registered. Since it's free, you might as well register for free, right? Well, what we want to do in this first 30 to 40 minutes is really enlighten you on the scope of THWGlobal, what they are doing, and what the capacity is. Far extends beyond anything that we have seen in the marketing arena. I've been in the network marketing arena since 1994, and we've had, we struggled the first 8-9 years. We struggled like, so many folks, and we finally got some great mentors, and we hit our stride, and we started developing some 7-figure businesses and what have you. But nothing is, if these guys deliver, if these guys deliver, and I say if because we're still in a soft launch, but I'm loving what I am seeing. When we first when it first came across our desk on June 16th of this year, we said, hey, is this thing crap? Or is it gold? We don't know if it's crap. We don't know if it's gold, so on and so forth. Well, it's looking more and more and more like gold, which is why we've termed this webinar series Preparing for the Gold Rush. Preparing for the Gold Rush. Okay, now, you're going to see why this has the potential to be the biggest thing that we've ever seen in the home business network marketing type of space. And let me say this up front. If you are not good at marketing, you're not good at recruiting, you're not good at selling, that's cool. That's all right, because you'll be able to generate revenues, and actually some decent revenues, whether you do any marketing or recruiting or any of that kind of stuff at all. But I'm going to show you why, particularly when we get to the training, why you haven't been good at it if you've struggled in that arena, and why this model, if you were to follow very intimately what we're going to be sharing, why ultimately you're going to be able to build a very large-scale network, not just with THWGlobal, but virtually in time, anything that you want to build, why you're going to be able to be successful in building that. All right, so let's go to work. Now, what I want to do at first is I want to talk about a platform that we're all familiar with. All right, we're all familiar with YouTube. And what you might not know is YouTube started back in February of 2005. Now, when you look at the big social media giants, the Facebooks of the world started in 2004, YouTube 2005, Twitter. When you look at all of those platforms, we thought that these were social media platforms. We thought YouTube was a video sharing platform, and certainly it is a video sharing platform. What we were not aware of is that what these platforms really are, they're really advertising platforms disguised, Martin, as social media. They're really advertising platforms disguised as social media. So let's just do a quick history of YouTube, because THWGlobal is modeling a large portion of its business from YouTube. Okay, so YouTube started back in 2005. All right, February 2005. The very first video that was loaded up on YouTube wasn't loaded up until April of 2005. Now, this is what I'm going to do. I want you to, some of you are taking some notes. When you go to YouTube, if you were to put in first YouTube video ever posted, you're going to find that this video right here, this is one of the original founders of YouTube, Jawed Karim. I hope I'm saying that name right. And forgive me to Jawed if I'm not saying it quite right. And what I'm going to do, I don't want you to look at this right now, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in the chat box. So I want you at some point, I want you at some point to take a look at this 18-second video. Not while we're doing this, obviously, but I want you to take a look at this 18-second video so you'll be able to swipe this and look at it a little bit later. And I want you to notice just how powerful this video is. And I say that facetiously, okay? I say that jokingly, because if you were to have seen this video, the very first video, way back in April of 2005, there's no way that most of us would have imagined that YouTube would become the juggernaut that it has become. And so what I want us to do as it relates to THW Global is I want us to say, hey, wait a minute. Way back in 2005 when YouTube was first launching, nobody would have ever thought it would become the behemoth that it is. What if THW Global fulfills on what they're looking to do? And they certainly look like they're fulfilling on that. Okay, now let's give you some more information about YouTube. Okay, so YouTube was then bought out by Google in October of 2006 for $1.65 billion. It took YouTube until June of 2007 before they launched in other countries. So they were started in February of 2005. The first video was posted on April of 2005. Not an impressive video by any stretch of the imagination. They were bought out in 2006 for $1.65 billion. At the time, that was the biggest purchase that Google had ever made. Okay, it took them until June 2007 before they launched in 9 countries. Now, we're still in soft launch with THW Global, but we have over 100 countries already represented. You probably heard 9 or so countries, maybe even more, represented just when Queen, we call Queen because she has over 1 million people following her on Twitter. You probably heard close to just over 9 countries represented as she was doing the introductions. So we're in over 100 different countries right now, and we're still just in our soft launch. By 2009, they had 1 billion daily views. And then it only took them a few months later before they had 2 billion daily views, and only took a few months later before they had 3 billion daily views. And so what they did, what Facebook has done, what Twitter has done, is they would have a model that was free to join. All right. So if you're here and you haven't already registered with THW Global, it's real simple. You're going to get back to the person who referred you to tonight's webinar. You're going to join them for free. It's not going to cost you 1 penny to join THW Global. That model has worked for social media. You get a whole bunch of users when it's free. Now, once you build a huge user base, you're then able to start serving ads. And that's where YouTube is making almost $9 billion a year just in advertising revenues. Now, this article asks, how much is YouTube worth? And you can see this is pretty recent, all right? This is pretty recent. And so in this article, they're saying that YouTube is worth about $86 billion. Now, YouTube is owned by Google. Google, the stock analysts, you know, they have some challenges with Google because Google doesn't break down all of its properties. Google will say, hey, we made, you know, $100 billion for the quarter or whatever the number might be, but they don't necessarily go through and break down, well, how much of that came from YouTube and how much of that came from, you know, some other property that they own. So they are making some assumptions based on traffic, based on advertising, so on and so forth. Now, when we come down here, what it says is, how much is it really worth? Well, it depends. If you're looking at YouTube based on an analysis of the revenue and stock valuation, they're saying $86 billion. They're saying, but if you're looking at it just on the revenue that YouTube produces, they're saying YouTube is worth $104 billion. All right, $104 billion. Now, again, I want to bring your attention back to that link that I just sent you. Please don't go to it right now. But once the webinar is over, all right, going to grab the link and maybe put it in a WordPad or something like that. I want you to see that very first video, or I want you to go to YouTube after the webinar and put in first video ever posted. And I want you to see that 18-second video, all right? Most all of us could do a better video than that, And who would have thought that that was the start of a $100 billion enterprise? Okay, so now let's take a look real quickly at two of the co-founders of Google. Remember, Google owns YouTube. Let's take a look at Larry Page. All right, Larry Page is number 10 on the Forbes 400 wealthiest people in the U.S. And that might be wealthiest people in the world. I know it at least is in the U.S. He's worth a real-time net worth. He's worth $38.8 billion. He is the one of the founders of Google. Now, that doesn't all come from YouTube, because Google owns YouTube. Obviously, you've got Google, they've got other properties and things of that nature. But a good portion of that does come from Google, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, you can see advertising is a huge, huge business. While we're on this page, what are you seeing? You're seeing over here, you're seeing Geico now is serving ads. And you'll see this probably change one or two more times if we stay on this page long enough. Advertising is one of the few niches that is recession proof. I mean, think this through. Think this through. In 2008, when there was the Great Recession that led with, people losing their jobs, people losing their homes, and I'm talking about a ripple effect across the country. Guess what? When you turned on the TV, you still saw ads. When you went online, you still saw ads. Now with your cell phone and you playing, let's say you're playing a game or you download a free app, there's a reason why many of these apps are free, is because they're serving what? Ads. All right. This is the first time, THW Global, that we in the home business space actually get to promote a business that is centered around large scale advertising, where big business, big companies, both national, international brands, and then ultimately even local brands are advertising, and we get paid because of that ad platform. Here's another one of the co-founders of Google, Mr. Brin here. Once again, he's this is not all YouTube, but YouTube plays a big role in this. He's worth $38 billion. So if you were to take just these two co-founders of Google and add up their net worth, they're worth collectively almost $80 billion. Why? Well, obviously there's Google, there's YouTube. This is how big the global advertising market is. It's a $650 billion market. And up to this point, the average person, you, me, Harvey Green, Giles, Gail Robinson, let's see here. I'm just seeing some of the names, trying to catch some of the names. Joan and Joanne, Irene. We average folks, we've not been able to really tap into this until THW Global. Okay. Now I'm going to come back to THW Global in just a moment. I want to show something real quickly before I come back to THW Global. Give me a moment. Okay, let's go here. All right. So we are all familiar with the YouTube. You go to YouTube, and of course, YouTube, by the way, is also the second biggest search engine right behind Google. All right, so a lot of times people, if they're searching a network marketing company, if they're searching about a product or a service, they'll go in and they'll put in the search and they'll watch videos, a lot of how-to videos, things of that nature. Now, what we're used to is you click onto a video that maybe captures your interest, and there we go. That's what I wanted to show. Whoops. All right, what are we seeing? Even before you get to the video, you're seeing advertising. Before you get to the video, you're seeing advertising. So this advertiser, I don't know who this advertiser is. Let's see who this is.
13 letters. Really big fire.
Okay, whoever this advertiser is paying to be there. All right, so we're going to come back to this in just a few moments. We're going to come back to that in just a few moments. So give me, that's where I want to be. Give me a moment. All right, so now we've got this huge market. We've got this huge market with very few players that are actually benefiting from the huge market. Huge market, $650 billion pie, but only a small elite few are benefiting from that huge advertising pie, and that small elite few, whether it is Mark Zuckerberg over there at Facebook worth $51.6 billion, or whether it's the two gentlemen that we just mentioned worth collectively almost $80 billion, a select few really tapping into the power of advertising from an income producing standpoint. Now, while that's happening, we see that there are major financial challenges that are being felt all across the world. Now, I'm going to focus on the U.S. because the U.S. is widely regarded as the wealthiest country in the nation. And if people are struggling in the U.S., then that probably means that underlying many people in other countries are having their own financial struggles. So in the U.S., for instance, you've got folks that are on public assistance, what they call welfare, where they're just not making enough money to make ends meet. And it used to be when I was growing up in the U.S. that you kind of looked down on people that were on the welfare. You know, maybe they were lazy, maybe they didn't, maybe they were sick or disabled, or if they were able-bodied, man, they must be lazy. Why don't you go out and get you a freaking job, dude? Do that. All right, that was kind of how a lot of people looked at folks that were on public assistance. And then I see this, where it said, well, hey, out of the $152 billion, out of the $152 billion that was spent on welfare by the U.S. In the previous year, half of that is going to working families. Advertising, big money, elite few making a lot of that money. All right. Meanwhile, many people struggling. Then you look at college students in the U.S., where 22% of them are either unemployed or underemployed. Once they come out with their degree, most of them are in debt. The average debt this year in 2016 was $37,000, and they can't even get a good job. 22% at least can't, or they don't have a job, or they're underemployed. Then when you take a look at our senior population in the U.S., this article talks about they can't afford to retire, that people are having to work longer, that we've got more people above 65 working now than we have had in the last 25 years. The average retiree doesn't have enough money to retire on. There was even some articles talking about certain cities like Detroit, Michigan, that essentially the city went bankrupt, filed bankruptcy, and people that were on retirement, having a pension, being paid by the city because they worked for the city for 20, 30, 40 years, all of a sudden they're not getting what was promised to them. So you've got this convergence. You've got this huge marketplace in the advertising arena that has only benefited an elite few. You've got major financial problems all across the globe. And so what THWGlobal has done is they said, okay, we see what YouTube is doing. All right, we can start our own video platform. As a matter of fact, we're off to a much faster start in our soft launch than what YouTube did back in 2005. Now, obviously, YouTube paved the way. All right, they paved the way, but we're off to a much faster start in terms of people even knowing about THWGlobal. I don't know how long it took for people to even know what YouTube really was. So you've got this video platform, looks a lot like YouTube, right? And as a matter of fact, this was a video that I was checking out right before we came on, and when I clicked there, here was an advertisement. I think this is a juicy fruit, or give me a moment.
Juicy fruit.
Yeah, Starburst, juicy fruit. All right, so there was an ad. There was an ad. And so now you've got large brands. I've seen pharmaceutical ads. I've seen Sensodyne toothpaste ads, all kinds of Duracell battery ads, all kinds of ads that are being served. Now, right now we're in soft launch. And in just a few short weeks, we should start to see the phasing out of soft launch. I think we've got about 25 more days based on the timer they have on the website. And then we should start going into a launch phase. So now let's talk about what this means for you and your family, what this means for your business. Okay, give us just a moment. All right. So essentially what THWGlobal has done is, so we've got this really an advertising platform. It's a video platform, but it's really a video advertising platform. Their whole goal is to generate a huge swarm, millions, then tens of millions of users. So we'll register for free, okay? And then we watch videos. All right. And what will happen is you'll watch those videos that appeal to you. I like politics, so I watch a lot of political related videos. I like sports, so I watch a lot of sports related videos. I like animals, so I watch a lot of animal related videos. And when I go to watch the video content, there's going to be, not on every video, but there's going to be some advertising that I watch before the video. I've even seen some advertising after the video. Now, what they're going to do is they're going to pay us to view this content. So this is the first large scale system that we've seen where the average user gets paid to view the content. Now, there might be some other smaller things out there, but in terms of doing it on a large scale, a YouTube type of scale. Now, how can they afford to do that? Because advertisers are paying, and they're paying big money. That's why YouTube does $9 to $10 billion a year in revenue. That's why Facebook did $5.2 billion in revenue in just the first quarter of this year from advertising. All right, you build a large user base. You then serve ads that to them based on their particular interests. You, the company, make a lot of money, and in case of Google, they've been pocketing the money. In case of Facebook, they've been pocketing the money. And I'm not here to foo-foo you on that. That is the free enterprise system at work. What THWGlobal understands, though, is for them to get into this market and get even 1% of market share, they've got to do things a little bit differently. All right. And so their difference is to incentivize you and I to be content viewers. And in being incentivized to be a content viewer, guess what? We're going to want to spend a few hours a week watching videos at THWGlobal versus just going over to YouTube, because they're going to pay us to do so. And then when we get paid to do so, guess what? We're more likely to tell other folks. We've been telling folks about Facebook without making any money. We've been telling folks about YouTube without making any money. We've been telling folks about Twitter without making any money. What happens if we make money? Real quickly, so let's show you how you're going to make money. You're going to earn up to $25 an hour for every hour of content that you view. The money hasn't started yet. We're in soft launch. Once we come out of soft launch, up to $25 an hour for every hour's worth of content that you view. You'll be able to view up to 10 hours a week. So if you do the math on that, that could be a couple hundred, $250 or so a week, $1,000 or so per month. And this is for anybody who's 18 and above. So if you're like me, it's my wife. I've got 2 sons in my household that are 18 and above. All right, so that's 4 of us that can view a couple of hours a day, 10 hours a week, and that could generate up to an extra $4,000 a month without any marketing, without me doing any webinars, without me having an email list, so on and so forth, okay? There's a $5 figure we're going to talk about in a moment, and then there's a $1 figure we're also going to talk about, because our aim is to help you scale to a 6 or even a 7-figure business. So you get started off at, let's say, up to the $25 an hour. But ultimately, we want you making $50, $100, $500 an hour, or even more. All right, so we just explained the $25 part. You earn up to $25 an hour for a maximum of 10 hours a week of viewing promotional content. Essentially, watching videos that interest you. And in many cases, before you get to the video, there might be a 30-second, a 1-minute commercial or what have you, okay? Ultimately, there'll be movie trailers. I've seen several of those already where we saw movie trailers, video surveys. I saw in some of the recent updates that we could be looking at other things down the road, maybe online shopping, maybe even some gaming, things of that nature. When you build a large scale group, you know, right now we have over 800,000 people that have registered in our soft launch. Ultimately, you can put anything in that system and it can generate some revenue. All right, let's talk about the $5. The $5 is if you choose to refer others. And why wouldn't you? It doesn't cost you anything. And I'm going to show you how we're going to help you build a very large-scale referral network, even if you have struggled in referring anybody to anything up to this point, okay? You earn up to $5 per hour when anyone that you refer views an hour's worth of promotional content. I need to explain real quickly what this up to means. The up to $25 an hour, the up to $5 an hour. Obviously, we're building a global base, but an advertiser advertising in, let's say, the Philippines is going to be paying a different advertising rate to get his or her message in front of a Filipino audience than, let's say, a US-based audience. And that's just a function of economics. I was doing a little research. Averaged after-tax disposable income of a U.S. person is about $2,800 US a month. Average for a Filipino in the Philippines is about $350 a month. So obviously, an advertiser is going to pay less to advertise to folks in the Philippines or maybe in Malaysia or what have you than they would, let's say, if they were advertising to those in the U.S. So that's going to have an impact. That number is going to be fluid. It may also be some other things about maybe if they had to cut a deal, not had, but they cut a deal with maybe some advertisers for longer term contracts or what have you. So all that stuff could go into play. That's why we say up to $25, okay? All right, so now you're going to earn up to $5 per hour when anyone that you personally refer views an hour's worth of promotional content. So here's an example. So one of our folks sent me a screenshot of what's happening in their organization. And where you see level 1, this is the number of people they have personally enrolled. You're going to want to become ultimately a part of what we call our Club 100, where you ultimately refer at least 100 people that are committed to not just viewing, but committed to building an organization. If you say, well, how the heck am I going to do that? I can't refer anybody to anything. Just stick with me. Just stick with us. We'll get you there, okay? If you bring the want to, we'll bring the how to, okay? If you bring the want to, we'll bring the how to. Okay, so this person has personally referred 231 folks. Now, what does that mean potentially for them? That means with 231 referrals, they can make $5 an hour. So if those 231 referrals all just watch 1 hour's worth of content, whether that was for a day or for a week, then that would generate $1,155. We're assuming the cap of $5 an hour there. Of course, that cap, it could be lower than that, but we're assuming the $5 cap for nice round numbers, okay? Now, what if the 231 referrals all viewed the max of 10 hours a week? We know that probably won't happen, but let's have some fun with it. Okay, well, now you're talking about the potential of $11,550 in income because this person built a referral network. Now, we know the chances of all 231 viewing 10 hours max a week, that probably isn't going to happen. It's been my experience, you probably have experienced this also, that about 80% of whatever happens because about 20% of the folks. And 20% of the folks make about 80% of the stuff really happen. So if we apply that 80-20 principle, or the 20% principle here, if just 20% of this happens, so let's say you ultimately have 231 personal referrals, which that's going to be a low number once you really understand how all this works and you understand the systems we're putting together for our audience. So this is going to be a low number in time. So 231 folks. And if they could all view 10 hours a week, they don't all view 10 hours a week. Some view 10, some view none, okay? But if 20% of what could happen happens, that still would be over $2,300 a week for the week to you because they viewed, imagine that. They viewed promotional content, and you just made, in this example, $2,300 for the week. Where does that money come from? Well, we know that right now Larry is putting that money in his pocket, right? And Mr. Brenner's putting that money in his pocket. Remember, you've got this huge marketplace, but only an elite few are the ones making money. The dude over there at Facebook, $51.6 billion net worth. And we're not foo-fooing on him. Not at all. Not at all. We're just praising and lauding THWGlobal for them having the vision and wanting to be able to impact a lot more than just their pockets. So we've got the $25, we've got the $5. Let's cover the $1, and I've got to start rounding third, and we'll get into some training. Okay, so let's talk about this $1. Where's this little measly $1 come from? Where's this measly $1 come from? Well, there is a 10-level compensation plan with THWGlobal. Now, how does that work? If you're new to our industry, you might not quite know how that works. This is you. Everybody has their own 10-level organization. Everybody sits atop of their own 10-level organization. And anyone that you, in the green, personally refer is going to be on your first level. So you refer Gina, you refer Henry, you refer Janice. They're on your first level. We want you to ultimately refer a minimum of 100 folks. It's free. Gosh, it's free. And when you start to employ some of the systems that we're going to be launching for our audience, my gosh, there's no reason why you shouldn't refer 100, 200, 500, 1,000 in time. Okay. All right. So anyone that you refer to on your first level, anyone that they refer. So let's say that you referred Isaiah. And Isaiah is on your first level. Well, when Isaiah refers someone, so let's say that Isaiah referred Frank, Frank is going to be on your second level. Isaiah is here. He refers Frank. Frank's on your second level. And then Frank refers Eva. Eva is on your third level. And then Eva refers Esmond, and Esmond is on your fourth level, so on and so forth, all the way down to 10 levels. Okay, now, here's where the dollar comes in. Anyone that's in your 10-level organization, when they view an hour's worth of content, you earn up to $1. Okay? Well, think this through. They can view what? 10 hours a week. So everyone in your 10-level organization could be worth up to $10 a week if they view their 10 hours. Well, if we multiply that out times 4 weeks out of the month, of course, there's going to be some months where it's actually more than that, then that means that everybody in your 10 levels could be worth up to $40 a month. Now, I want you to think this through. Those of you who've been in our industry for a while, and I'm used to having someone join me in my business, getting on auto ship, getting on a monthly subscription, and in most cases, I'm not going to make $40 a month when they have their monthly subscription. Here, nobody's on a monthly subscription. Nobody's on a monthly auto ship. They join for free. All right. Now, you might get some tools and resources to help you build your business that is totally separate from that. But in terms of just the THW model, they join for free, they view, they make money, the person that referred them makes money, and 9 other people make money, all right, through the 10-level organization. By the way, if you personally refer someone, everyone that you personally refer could be worth up to $200 a month. That's what that figure is. If you're earning up to $5 an hour, they view 10 hours a week. They do that 40 hours a month, 10 hours times 4 weeks, so on and so forth. Everybody you personally refer could be worth up to $200 a month. Everyone in your 10-level organization could be worth up to $40 a month. So it doesn't take a huge organization for you to potentially generate some life-changing income. At the same time, we want you to build a huge organization, because when you understand THWGlobal's overall mission, they have to have tens of millions of users in order for them to meet their objectives. Well, shoot, Facebook, without paying anybody, has 1.6 billion users without paying anybody. So in time, could we have 1 billion users in THWGlobal? Won't happen next week. Probably won't happen next year. But a few years from now, that very well could happen. So let's say in time there's 1 billion THWGlobal users. That means there's going to be people that's going to have 10-level organizations into the millions. Now, the question is that going to be you? Well, I don't know. It's going to be somebody. It might as well be you. All right, so let me just show you this real quickly. All right, so this person sends me, again, this is the same person. They sent me their information that showed their 10 levels. They've got 16,000, and they sent this to me last week, I think it was. All right, so this is always growing. It's probably well above that now. They've got 16,000 in their 10-level organization. If, and I'm going to take out the 231 that they personally enrolled, because that's where they can make the $5. So other than the people they've enrolled, there's 15, almost 16,000 folks in their organization. They can earn $1 per hour every time somebody in that organization views an hour's worth of content. Could you imagine? Probably won't happen. if everybody in that organization in one day viewed an hour's worth of content, that one day could be 15 grand? Probably won't happen like that. All right. But what if, give me just a moment. Okay. What if the 15,000 viewed the 10 hours a week? This is too big of a number for me to put on here for FTC reasons. We know that probably won't happen. But what if 20% of that happened? The point is, this model, because we're talking about one of the biggest industries in the world, where up to this point there's only been a very small elite making money from advertising. Only been a very small elite. And it always been big business. Who makes money from advertising on TV? It's the TV dudes, right? The TV execs. All right. And obviously they pay the actors and the actresses a lot of money. You know, the reason reality TV is such a big bang is because they don't have to pay a reality TV person what they paid Seinfeld for for an episode. And so hopefully you're starting to see just how big this could be. Now I've got to finish up. I'm past my time. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I've gone over my 30 or 40 minutes. Just bear with me and we're getting to the training. All right. Now, real quickly, how do we get you to building a large scale enterprise? There's going to be tens of millions in THWGlobal anyway. I believe in time hundreds of millions. If Facebook could get 1.6 billion, and Facebook's been around since 2004, and they could do that without paying anybody anything. Now, obviously, if you're an investor, great in Facebook, fantastic. But in terms of the average person who never bought stock, just going into Facebook and friending folks and liking posts and what have you, that average person is not making a dime. All right, so I'm hoping you can see in time there could be tens of millions, hundreds of millions, a billion or more users in THWGlobal. All right, so I want you to have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions in your 10-level organization. So how are we going to make that happen, especially if you've not been good at sponsoring, recruiting, selling, all that other stuff? All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take the 10-hour pledge. It only has 2 tenets. This is real simple. It says this: raise your right hand and pledge. Raise your right hand and covenant that you're going to maximize your viewing income by maxing out the number of hours you can view. So the number of hours, the max is 10 hours. We know that what you make might be different than what somebody else makes because of the region of the world that you're in. You might make more, you might make less than someone else. So our focus is not on the money that you make viewing. It's on the fact that you're going to max out what you make by viewing your 10 hours a week. Yes, I've got a lot going on. You've got a lot going on. I am making that pledge. My right hand is up. All right. By the way, if your right hand is up in the questions box, put a yes. You're making the pledge. I'm making the pledge. Put a Y or a yes in the questions box. You are making the pledge. All right. There we go. They're my pledgers. They're my pledgers. Okay. All right. Now, why is this so important? Because now you have a seed. Now you have generated some revenue, and with that revenue, we're not going to go spend it all on doodads. We're not going to go out and spend it all on junk stuff. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take 50% minimum to as much as 100%. And I'm talking to those of you that want to build a large scale enterprise. If that's not you, if you just want to make a few $100s or $1,000 or whatever per month, and you're cool with that, then I'm cool with that. If that makes you happy, I'm happy for you. Okay. I'm talking to the people that want a lifestyle change. I'm talking to the people that have a big vision, but don't quite have the money to help fulfill the vision. I'm talking to the people who are behind on some promises. They're behind on retirement. They're behind on children education. They want to leave a legacy. They want to contribute more to their favorite charity. That's who I'm talking to. Okay. So we're going to take 50% to 100% of whatever it is you made from your viewing. You're going to max out your viewing. If you made $1,000, you're going to take a minimum of 500 to as much as 1,000, and you're going to use that as a seed and invest that into your business, into the right tools and the resources and even the paid traffic, so that you get people going to your system that's going to present all this for you. We've got a couple systems we'll be launching over the next few weeks. And this is going to help you build your referral network, but ultimately it's going to help you build not just for people joining you in THWGlobal in time as you have other income streams that you might have or other products or services that you might find that bring value to your audience, you're going to have a list of people that have already done business with you in THW Global, that are already making money in THW Global. They are going to be more receptive to anything else you ever talk to them about. All right. So look at that viewing income as a seed to get the proper tools and resources and even the traffic. The traffic, people going to your site. You don't have any friends left. Nobody wants to hear from you. How do you get traffic to your site? You pay for it. And you use your marketing seed to pay for traffic getting to your site. Okay. So now we are going to start transitioning. Here's what I need you to do. Let me give you your call to action. All right. Number one. Get back to the person that referred you to this training, okay? Get their referral link and join them. So you're going to have a link, unless they have tied a domain name to it, you're going to have a link that looks something like this, ABC, which represents the person that you're referring. It represents their username, abc.THWGlobal.com. Okay, so you're going to register there. Very simple registration. Get started. You put your name, your email address, your desired username. What else is there? Your country. Nothing, you're not having to put in credit card information because you're not buying anything. You're just registering for free. Okay, once you register, you're going to be able to log in. And when you log in, all right, when you log in, excuse me, I feel a cough coming, excuse me. I'm going to mute out for just a moment. Once you log in, I'm going to show you how to do this real quickly. All right, once you log in, then you are going to take a survey. It's called a demographic survey. And this is where you are going to tell the system what your interests are. You're interested in camping. You're interested in cooking. You're interested in politics. If you're interested in politics, do you lean to the left side of the aisle? If you are more liberal, or are you more conservative? So that they're serving videos based on your interests. All right. You don't want to have a whole bunch of videos out there of things that you're not interested in. So the whole idea is you're going to be watching this content. You want to watch something that you actually have an interest in. Then when you go to watch the video, many of these videos, not all, but many of these videos are going to actually have some ad there. You're going to watch the ad and you're going to be cool with watching the ad. Why? Because you're getting paid. Because you're getting paid. And then when you need that product or that service or what have you, then you're going to want to patronize that particular advertiser because they're doing business with the system that's paying you. All right. And then once you've gotten your demographic survey, you're then going to grab your referral links so that you can get them out to anyone that you might want to get registered with you. So let me show you this real quickly. I'm over my time. I do apologize. All right. Let me show you this real quickly. Bear with me. Okay, so once you've registered, you're gonna log into your back office. It's gonna look like this, and the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna come over here to where it says Survey Center, Demographic Survey. Now, I've already taken my survey, but you'd have a link here to take your survey. It's only going to take you about 5 minutes or so. I want you to be very liberal in taking your survey, meaning this, that it's going to ask you things that you're interested in. But I want you to be thinking not just about your interests, be thinking about the interests of your loved ones. Maybe people in your household, maybe people outside of your household. So maybe you're not interested in camping, but your brother-in-law is interested in camping. Go on and click that, because you might see something. Might see a video that you might want to forward on to him, or you might see a video that has an ad based on something dealing with camping that might be a great gift idea when it's time for gift giving season or what have you. Okay, so be very liberal. All right, so that's you registered, you came in. Then the second thing you're going to do is you're going to come to where it says Message Center, because you want to get your referral links. You're going to click where it says Message Center. I've got a bunch of messages in here because we're obviously very active in building our business. You're going to come back. Yours will probably be on the first page to where it says welcome to THW Global. All right, or welcome to THW. You're going to click to read that, and that's going to have your referral links. Okay, and then one last thing I will say, make sure that you are registered with our webinar series. If somehow you got here without registering, if somebody just patched you in, our webinar series is THWGlobalWebinar.com. Now, we are not THW Global, meaning yours truly doing this presentation. I'm not admin for THW Global. I'm not support for THW Global. I'm not an insider with THW Global. I'm an international viewer is what we're referred to, just like you. I'm someone who's building my organization. We've just built very large scale organizations, so we always build with a large team in mind, okay? The website, the URL was available. They may come back at some point and say that we can't use THW Global in our promotional stuff. If they do, then we'll go to a different link. So I just want you to know, don't think that because we're using THW Global Webinar that I'm the THW Global dude. All right, I'm presenting it, I'm promoting it just like you are. What we do is we send out a post typically 5 days a week, normally Monday through Friday. And we'll have training in that post. We'll let you know all of our webinars. And right now we send out our recorded webinars to this list. All right. The other thing is that there's going to be a request for us to send you push notifications that either come straight to your cell phone or come straight to your desktop or your laptop. You want to allow that and accept that. That way, if you miss our email, because when we send out an email with any training or what have you, we will also send out a push notification just to make sure that you get it. Okay. All right. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to transition. I did not get that done in the 40 minutes. I was hoping it took me an extra 10. I'm not going to apologize, but we'll work on making sure that we can keep it in that 30, 40 minute range. We are going to transition. Give me just a moment. Give me just a moment. I just dropped my mouse, so bear with me. We're going to go into training here. All righty. All righty. Okay. All right. So what we do on Tuesday nights, we have a combo webinar. We do what we just did, and I've not had the chance to do everything in the PowerPoint. Once I do everything in the PowerPoint, we'll be able to move through it a little bit quicker, so that we do it in about the target is to get that done in about 35 minutes. Okay, and then afterwards we have training. All right, now what we've done over the past few years is we've invested literally tens of thousands of dollars in marketing training. We've been in the industry since '94. We really started having successes in the early 2000s, mid 2000s. We really started having some major successes. But we didn't get the whole internet marketing thing. It took us a while to really get that. And when we got it, we said, my gosh, we've got to teach folks this. And not everybody's going to have tens of thousands of dollars to invest in mastermind type trainings. So let's learn it, let's apply it, let's see that it works, and then let's come back to our audience and begin to teach that, okay? Now, what we did last week is we talked about you being the most important part of your business. Now, obviously, I'm high on THW Global, but THW Global is not your business, okay? Your business is you and your following. Your business is you and your following. Keep this in mind. So what we always want to do is we want to focus on building ourselves. We want to work on our business ourselves, not just in our business. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to post the recorded training that we did on that last week. And I'm going to post that here. Grab the link for review at a later time. All right, I just posted that. Okay, it's very important. I want you to get that. Your business is you and your following. And also, we sent out today. We sent out a review. Give me a moment. Let me go grab that review. Bear with me. Okay, all right. So this way we can go on and move forward. Anybody that wants to get that content from last week, the first link that I just put in there just a few moments ago, we recorded the entire session, both the combo, the presentation part, as well as the training part. You'll get into the training about 35, maybe 36, 37 minutes into that. So we really talk about you, and then what I want to talk about tonight is a little bit about your following. So really what I want to do, let's do this. Let's talk about the 4 main reasons that people fail in building any type of marketing enterprise, because if we can understand why people fail, then we can say, okay, this is the problem, let's find the solution, and then I'm not failing in that area, okay? So there's 4 major reasons why people fail, and these are the 4 major things that we're going to focus on in building out our network. Number 1, they fail because they lack a funnel-based system. Number 2, they lack a responsive list. Number 3, they lack compelling offers that bring healing, ointment, salve to the problems and struggles of their target market. And then number 4, most marketers lack high quality, laser targeted traffic, visitors. When I say traffic, we mean visitors going to your site, okay? All right, so most people lack high quality, laser targeted traffic going to their system. All right, so let's just break this down very quickly, and then over the coming weeks we can spend more time with each of these. All right, so most people lack a funnel-based system. Now, we've talked about this on some of our Thursday night webinars. Thursday night webinars is all training for us. It's held at the same webinar link, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern. There's several things that make up a funnel-based system. I'm just going to give you the quick and dirty. 1, it needs to be automated. Now, I love doing these live webinars, all right, but this live webinar is not automated, all right? It's something that we do on a weekly basis. We'll continue to do because I just love doing it, all right? But in terms of building a long-scale enterprise, you want something that's automated. So that's what we're launching here as early as next week. As early as next week, we'll be launching our first funnel-based system, which is a mobile marketing platform to promote THWGlobal. So it needs to be automated, all right, and it needs to be solution-based. So essentially what your funnel system needs to do is it needs to educate your prospect on the solutions you have to their problems. Now, I want you to notice something that we did even in this presentation. All right, we talked about the bigness of advertising. We talked about YouTube to start off with, and we talked about where it started. We talked about its humble beginnings, all right, so that we would have more vision to say, hey, you know, shoot, if this is what YouTube looked like back in 2005, and now they're $100 billion entity, I want to be in as this thing is just getting started here, because what if this becomes a $100 billion entity, so on and so forth. But we didn't just talk about the money. Notice before we ever even got to the money, we highlighted some of the pain points that people were having. So what we did is we said, okay, here you have an elite few making all this money. We showed you a dude worth 38.8 billion, another dude worth 38 billion. We talked about Mark Zuckerberg worth 51 billion dollars. So here's this huge market, here's this huge market, all right? But we've been kept out of that because we haven't been part of the elite few. And then before we got to the compensation part, we said, hey, while they're making all this money, this is what's happening across the globe. And we talked about the baby boomers, and we talked about the college students, 22% unemployed, so on and so forth. So a funnel-based system needs to be automated, and it needs to exacerbate the problem. It needs to pour salt on the wounds of the problem so that people then say, I want the solution. See, understand this, that nobody wants to be sold, but everybody wants to buy. The best salesperson is the person that doesn't sell. The best salesperson is the person that helps a person see why they need to buy. Where the prospect sells themselves. The prospect says, ooh, I want this, I need this. And if you pour enough salt in the wound for people to understand that, hey, I'm in pain and here's something that can help me. So we talked about you can make money and you can build a large scale network. But we also said, hey, listen, if that's not your thing, if all you want to do is make a few extra hundreds of dollars, or $1,000 a month, you don't have to do any building. If you're not good at that stuff, that's okay. Well, guess what that was? That was a solution. Now, what we have to do is we got to have this where it's automated so that it can be played 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So you're not limited to a Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern live webinar. Am I still going to be here next Tuesday night, 8 p.m.? Yes, I am. And I'd love to see you on that webinar as well. But from a business building standpoint, we need something automated. Let's talk about the lack of a responsive list. You've heard it said that the money is in the list. And just in case you haven't heard that, here is the metric, okay? The metric as it relates to list building, and this typically comes from email list building. So you're building an email list, okay? The metric is you'll typically look to earn $1 per month per subscriber, okay? $1 per month per subscriber. So if you've got 1,000 subscribers in your email list, you should be making about $1,000 a month minimum. Now, as you improve your skill set, as you employ systems, you could generate a lot more than that. Okay, and that's one of the reasons why we're launching the systems that we're launching, so that ultimately you are able to develop multiple streams of income across multiple niches. So we're going to use the seed, the viewing income, to as a catalyst to get our business really up and running. Well, we've got the traffic. We're paying for traffic to go to our site. We've got the tools and resources so we can start to build our list. But here's the thing that we've got to focus on. Not just building a list, this right here. A responsive list. A responsive list. A responsive list. Now, how do you build a responsive list? Okay? All right, so if you had 10,000 subscribers, you should be looking to make about $10,000 a month. All right, so how do you build a responsive list? Here's a couple things we've got to do to build a responsive list. All right, now we're going to use paid traffic primarily to build our list. And where's the paid traffic going to come from? Where's the money going to come from? It's going to come from the 10-hour pledge. It's going to come from our viewing the content, our making money from our viewing, and then taking a portion of that viewing income to invest in the resources and the tools like the system that we're about to launch. There'll be other things out there that's got nothing to do with our system that we'll be recommending, and even things that maybe you'll find that we don't necessarily use, but you find value in it. All right. So the tools, the resources, everything that I do in my business primarily is either working on me or working on my following. Working on me, because what's your business? Your business is you and your following. I'm working on me to become a better me. When I become a better me, it shows up in my marketing. I become a better me. One of the reasons I love watching personal development information, not only does that help challenge me, But now that's now content. I'll hear something that I now can incorporate in my webinars or in my trainings or what have you, and then I come across as being a smart dude. All I really did was, there's nothing new under the sun, is I listened to enough Les Brown, or enough Eric Thomas, enough Danny Johnson, enough whoever, that now I started hearing it over and over again, begin to apply it and what have you. Okay, so you want to have a responsive list, and one of the ways you get a responsive list is you consistently communicate value to your list. You consistently communicate value to your list. So what did I do? I told you, I already prepped you that when you are part of our webinar list, that you're going to expect to hear from me at least 5 days a week. I'm going to send something out, typically via email, Monday through Friday. And it's not just going to be, hey, come to a webinar. That's what I used to do until I started learning better from my mentors. So this morning, the last link that I posted there was, yes, we've got a webinar. Hey, but I want to give you some actionable content that's going to assist you. All right. And that's what you want to do. Now, for those of you who say, but I don't know how to communicate value to my list. I'm not a video dude or dudette. By the way, there's a reason why you never see my face. I used to do videos where I put my face on camera. One of the reasons I stopped doing that is because I want to teach people, where everything I do, I want to teach you. And I want you to understand that, hey, you don't have to put your mug on the camera if you don't want to do a quality video. So now I just use screen capture. All right, so that's a tool. You'll want to have a nice screen capture software. The one that I use is called Camtasia. It's like maybe $300 or something like that. That's not a month or a year or what have you. That's like $300. I paid $300 in 2008 for it. Every now and then they'll have an upgrade that I can choose to purchase. This thing, what I'm recording with right now, has made me so much money. And so you could do videos and never even put your face on camera. There's a number of you that do this now. You know, and we'll show you this. Don't have time to do it tonight. We'll show you how to go to YouTube, how to go to Vimeo, another video sharing site. And if it's not making sure that you're not violating any copyrights, how you can actually download a video that you can now put whatever you want to in front or behind the video. Some of you do this right now on YouTube. You take my video content, and anything I put on YouTube is fair game. You don't even have to ask me. If I put something on YouTube, I know that it can be leveraged. You feel free to leverage it, okay? Terry, I don't know if you're on the webinar, but I know Terry, I think it's Terry Brown, who does this a lot. He'll take an excerpt of one of my trainings. All right, it might be a 30-minute training, an hour training, and he'll take out, maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes that really resonated with him. And, then he'll put his face on the camera and he'll say, hey, I want you to hear from my buddy, one of my business partners, so on and so forth. And then he'll end up the video, with his call to action or what have you. Why he's able to do that? Because he has his screen capture software. All right, so my whole point is, you don't have to be the one that is cutting the content. If you are a content creator, great. As a matter of fact, with one of our systems that we're going to be launching after our mobile marketing system, we're going to have what we call the Value Vault. That Value Vault is going to be an never-ending vault of valuable video training that you can share with your list. Some of it is training, a marketing training. Some of it is, hey, let's take a mental vacation break where we go to the Canary Islands for a few minutes, or we go to Paris for a few minutes. Some of that is going to be a comedic video where we try to find some clean comedy that gets people laughing. Why is that important? Because you want people to open up your content. And if you get people watching a video from Jeff Foxworthy, for instance, and it puts a smile on their face, they're more likely to open up your next email or your text message. Number one, and that next email or text message, maybe that's where you're promoting a product or service or an offer or what have you, okay? And so one of the ways you build a responsive list is you consistently communicate value to that list. One of the things that we figured out is most people are not content creators. That's what we do. That's what we love. I love doing this stuff. I was cutting videos all day today, okay? I love this stuff. And so what we've done with our value vault and with that content, and if you will watch the video that we sent out, this is the last link that I posted in your chat. If you watch that video, watch it all the way through. Okay, it's maybe, is it 15 minutes? Might be 15 minutes. Watch it all the way through, and you'll notice at the end of the video how we end the video for our audience, where we're saying, hey, somebody that is a part of our following, I never mention my name. That's why I go by Doc. All right, never mention my name. You'd never hear me mention my name on these webinars. I don't mention my name in any of these videos, so that you can leverage that content. This is what I'm good at. I ain't good at much. If you've been following us for a while, you know the two things I'm good at, that I'm better at than training and presenting. Me. Dr. Chris, if you're out there, this is for you. This is for you. I'm gonna love you forever. It's me singing country music. Forever and ever, amen. Did you hear that little country twang there? As long as old men sit and talk about the weather. As long as old women sit and talk about old men. Gosh, that boy is, oh my God, that boy's talented. And I need to do some of that in our value vault, right? So you can send that out. All right. So the point is, like, we got a comedic vault. So we send out a Jeff Foxworthy video. We get people laughing. We get people smiling. People do business with people they like, respect, and trust. Okay. So that's one of the ways you develop a responsive list. You need to provide consistent, valuable information to your list. Think of the people. Think of if you're on any list of any major marketer, what you will find is that when you're opening up their stuff, they're not just pitching their stuff. They are pitching. They're saying, buy this from me, join me, or what have you, but they're providing value. Then if you look at most people that are in network marketing, all they're doing is saying, join me, join me, join me. Buy from me, buy from me, buy from me, but they're not providing the value, all right? You follow us when we launch these systems. Get these systems as the tools and the resources that we're talking about, so that you have access to all this stuff. This is how you start to build a responsive list. Another thing real quickly on building a responsive list, got a few minutes here. We're going to be launching as early as next week our mobile marketing platform. Now, this is going to be a funnel-based system that's going to present 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. It's going to present the THWGlobal offer, the THWGlobal opportunity. However, when you send people to this system, you're going to capture the lead. You're going to capture an SMS text lead. I've been in an SMS text beta for almost 3 years. November this year would be 3 years. I will tell you, there is no list building mechanism that I have seen that is more responsive than SMS text and more efficient than SMS text. Okay, the way that you can bond with your audience with SMS text is far greater than even email. And I'm never going to foo-foo you on email. You want to have an email list in time. Okay, you want to build an email list. But I can tell you that when I send out a SMS text, and let's say I have a little call to action, all right, I'll give you a good example. I sent out to probably 20 people today. I said, hey, this is a test. Hit me back and let me know that you got it. All right, that was it. Give me a moment before I show this. Bear with me. I need to block out something. All right, so I sent out an SMS text. I've got some beta testers with me that were beta testing before we launched the system. So I sent out an SMS text to about 20, maybe 25 folks. And I sent it out right about 2:30. And right here, you can see 3 minutes later, 5 minutes later, 7 minutes later, 8 minutes later, you know, out of the 20, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Let's call it 25. It might have been 25. I got 14 people out of 25 that hit me back with, hey, I wanted them to let me know that they got that they got the text, and they hit me back and said, yep, got the text. I promise you, if I send out an email to 25 people saying hit me back, I'm going to get 2 or 3. I'm not going to get 14 or 15. All right. And I'll show you on Thursday, because we're going to focus on the SMS text messaging platform and the whole mobile marketing platform on Thursday. I'll show you on Thursday just how we're able to make some connections with using SMS text that I can't make with email. And it just gives you a more responsive list. So what we have seen is a far more responsive list. This is not the foo-fooey on email marketing, not the foo-fooey on email list building, but it's just a highlight. Look, if we follow big business leaves clues. And what's happening is big business is moving much of their advertising to mobile. The TV advertising is still big. It's still a $78 billion industry in the U.S. It's still the biggest, but right now, digital, meaning the internet advertising is getting close to what they're spending on TV. By 2020, what companies spend on mobile as it relates to advertising, advertising directly to your cell phone, obviously with SMS text as well, but let's say like those apps. That's the reason that most of your apps are free or little to nothing is so that they build a large user base and then they serve ads. I love playing my Bejeweled game on my phone. And what happens is if I want to play again without it reducing some of my credits that I've accumulated, I watch an ad. And if I want to generate more credits without me paying for them, I watch an ad. All right. And so let's understand where big business is headed, and let's ride that wave. All right. So we want to have a responsive list. The way that we're going to help you build a responsive list is we're going to be launching our mobile marketing platform. So you're going to start generating SMS text leads. That in and of itself is going to lend itself to being a more responsive list, number one. Number two, then you're going to have access to valuable training that you're going to be able to share with that list so that that list starts to like and respect you and trust you, so that ultimately they do business with you, not just in THWGlobal. All right. We want you to build a long-term sustainable business with multiple streams of income. And then lastly, and then we'll open up for a few Q&As. So I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, well, don't put any questions just yet, because I might ask you a question here. Don't put any questions in your questions box just yet. The last one is driving high quality laser targeted traffic to your system. Most people don't know how to do that. Now, let me tell you what we're going to bring to our audience. With the systems that we're launching, you will have access to multiple automated traffic systems where you don't have to know how to generate traffic. You don't have to learn Facebook. You don't have to learn Twitter or any of that stuff. If you just want to just outsource your traffic automation, outsource your traffic generation, you'll be able to do so. Once you come into our systems, you'll be able to do so. Okay. So if you want to get 500 visitors to your site, if you want to get 1,000 visitors to your site, you want to get 10,000 visitors to your site, it's just a matter of paying to get that traffic there. Now, let me kill this one right now. You want paid traffic, not so-called free traffic. There's no such thing as free traffic, okay? There's no such thing as free traffic. Now, can you get traffic without spending money? The answer to that is yes, but it's not free because it's going to cost you a lot of time to be able to, and consistency to be able to drive enough traffic from what I like to refer to as organic sources. Okay, so I'll give you an example. Okay, I'll give you an example. I have generated a lot of traffic from YouTube talking about THW Global. All right. I've had tens of thousands of video views. I've had, I don't know what the numbers are that have joined me as a direct result of, but I know it's been, significant that have joined me as a direct result of me doing a lot of YouTube videos. Okay. Now, somebody would say that that's free. I would tell you it's not free, because it takes me a lot of time to cut that content, render that content, edit that content, put that content up, so on and so forth. The other day, I'm putting content that I'm going to put up on YouTube. I'm up to 3 o'clock in the morning. All right. The day after that, or the day before that, I was up to 6 o'clock in the morning. Okay. That's a lot of time. Now, what I would prefer to do, because I can go to YouTube, and instead of me trying to get on the front page of the THW Global keyword with organic, I need to post so many videos so that YouTube and its analytics and Google puts my video on the front page. You know what? What's easier to do? It's easier for me just to pay to have my ad there. It's just so much easier for me just to do that. Now, I haven't done that yet because I'm waiting for our systems. And once our systems are ready to go, then we'll start doing some of that. Okay. All right. But if you want something that's automated, something that you can scale so that as you generate more revenues, you can scale your advertising. See, I can only do so much in organic traffic generation. I can only put so many videos up per day. Okay. And even when I put up a video, I don't know that I'm going to get a certain number of visits to my site. But I can go to certain sites and say, I want 500 visitors today, or 1,000 visitors, or 10,000 visitors, or whatever that happens, or whatever that number happens to be that you can afford. Now, the reason a lot of people have not gotten the tools and the resources that they need to build a large-scale business, they don't have a funnel-based system. Well, you won't hear that talk in network marketing typically. You'll probably only hear it a lot with our following, what a funnel-based system is. But the reason they don't have a list, the reason they're not driving traffic consistently, in many cases comes down to the fact that people just don't have the budget. And that's why the 10-hour pledge is so important, because the 10-hour pledge now becomes a way to derive the budget. All right. And the other thing that you want to have from a pure duplication standpoint in building a large-scale enterprise is you want to have something that people can duplicate. So I can do YouTube advertising, okay? And I can go and learn Instagram, and I can go and learn Twitter. How do you maximize Twitter advertising? How do you maximize Instagram advertising? How do you maximize, whatever, okay? And if you want to learn how to drive traffic using some of those mediums, we'll even have a resource for you. I'm not the guy to teach you all that stuff, but I'll turn you on to the guy who that is what he does. So if you want to learn that stuff, that's great. If you want to just say, hey, I want to get some visitors to my site. I want to have a trusted source where these are real people. These are not robots. These are real people. I want to get some visitors to my site. I'm going to have some campaigns that do real well. I'm going to have some campaigns that maybe don't do as well. That's just part of advertising. That's part of building a business. Where do I go? Well, guess what? You're going to have multiple systems that you're going to be able to leverage when you leverage our mobile marketing system. That's what we're going to launch first. And then a few weeks after that, we're going to launch what we call the funnel blueprint. Don't have time to talk about that because I'm at my time. So listen, if you have gotten value out of what we have shared in this training section, in your questions box, put a V for value. If you've gotten value, you learned something. Now, we did broad strokes here tonight. Fantastic. 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 All right. All right. All right. Okay. All right. So with that being the case, Queen, are you still with me?